Ani Babooli finds himself back in Spain. And you might be wondering, why is this man dressed so clean? And why is he back in Spain? And the very simple reason is, he's been instructed by his agent Ani Babooli to go and do an interview back in Spain to help build his brand. And the interview was an absolute success. Ani Babooli was able to show that he is a humble man and a hard-working man. And after that interview, Ani Babooli took a moment to look out at the beautiful Spanish coast and just ponder and reminisce on how far his career has come thus far. And as we go back to Scotland and head into match week 15, Rangers hosting Motherwell, Ani Babooli getting ready for another intense match of Scottish football. And Ani Babooli threading it through beautifully to Ant-Man, who sends it back to Babooli. Ani Babooli has options, has a shot, and chose the wrong option. Rangers with the corner. Ani Babooli making runs, unable to get his head on the ball. And Charles Cook passing it right to Raskin. Ant-Man to Sterling. Davies passing it to Sterling. Davies passing it to Sterling again. These two working brilliantly together. Raskin finding Bayrami, and Bayrami to Ant-Man. Ant-Man back to Babooli. Babooli making his run. Ant-Man back to Raskin. Raskin now back to Bayrami. Bayrami finding Raskin. Baron Trump passing it to Babooli, who brilliantly turns the ball, smashes it into the back of the net, and does a back foot on the ground like an absolute specimen as he hits the Ani Babooli prance. And in the 80th minute, Babooli wanted more. Rothwell passed it to Babooli. Babooli turned with the ball, passed it to Brunel. Brunel back to Babooli. Babooli finding Brunel, continuing his run, and you know what that means. He's gonna smash it and curl it into the bins, past the keeper, make it 2-0 for Ani Babooli and Rangers FC as they collect another victory. And with that 3 points collected, you can see we remain at the top of the league with 37 points and a record of 11 wins, 4 draws, and 0 losses. And we've only eaten 1 damn goal. And heading into the Champions League, things are not going so hot, but we must turn things around as we face off against Marseille. And Garcia getting into Bayrami. And now, Gassama and Babooli working together. Babooli with some skills. Babooli taking a shot, unable to get it past Ruben Blanco. And Højbjerg to Sane. To Gawara. To Angel. Sane taking it in open space. Sane on the ball. Sane with some skills. Passing it to Guri, who has a shot off the bar. Guri on the ball. Guri sending it through to Angel. Sane getting the ball taken off him by Babooli. Babooli now making his run. Ani Babooli on the ball. Passing it over to Gassama, who passes it back to Babooli. Babooli now with some instincts to attack. Passing it back to Gassama. Babooli working with Raskin, who finds Babooli. Babooli on the ball, has a shot and shoots it way wide. And with another draw in the Champions League, we find ourselves in 24th place with 3 matches left in the league phase. And with that, we need to start getting some wins together or we are going to be out of here. And heading into match week 16 of the Scottish Premier League, Rangers hosting Hibernian. And it's McIntyre on the ball, passing it to Jancic, who gets in a duel with Babooli, and Babooli coming out on top, and now starting an attack for Rangers, and Ani Babooli on the ball. Ani Babooli passing it to Bayrami, who passes it back to Baron. Garcia to Gassama. Garcia finding Babooli, who slips it to Bayrami. This is Joga Bonita, and look at Ant-Man putting it into the back of the net like the hero that he is. And Babooli on the ball with a no-look pass to nobody. And Garcia heading the ball to Bayrami, who gets it over to Gassama. Baron on the ball now. Baron assessing his options. Goes back to Sutar, who gets his pass intercepted. And now Hibernian on an attack. courtesy of Claude J. And Claude J on the ball has a shot and puts it into the back of the net. A disappointing goal to concede. And in the 35th minute, Babooli with a brilliant touch, getting the ball to Ant-Man, who finds Bayrami, and Babooli with some skills to send the defender for a hot dog and smashes the ball, but the keeper stops it, but Bayrami's there to hammer it into the back of the net and give Rangers the well-deserved lead as he karate kicks the corner flag. And Yohan to Campbell. Campbell on the ball. And it's McCafferty on the ball to Rocky. Bayrami with an interception, sending it to Babooli. Babooli on the ball with some more skills, tricking the defense, smashing it into the back of the net. This man is the Moroccan magician, and he is showing the world how good he is. A tremendous goal by Ani Babooli. Looking like Ronaldinho out there with the flair. And Rangers collecting another 3 points, which gives us a 40-point total after 16 matches played and a record of 12 wins, 4 draws, 0 losses. And as we head into match week 17 of the Scottish Premier League, Kilmarnock hosting Rangers. And this will be another match of intense Scottish football, and Babooli looking to get the game started with some skill moves. And the Ronaldinho comparisons are getting to Babooli's head. He's always loved Ronaldinho. He wants to play just like him, and he's displaying his skills right here. And Ani Babooli on the ball now, getting the ball taken right off his feet. But Gassama crossing it to Babooli, who loops it over the keeper with his head. And can you believe it? Ani Babooli with a brilliant header to get his 25th goal of the campaign. A wonderful goal by Babooli, giving Rangers the well-deserved victory, bringing us to 43 points after 17 matches played. And as we head into the 6th match of the league phase in the Champions League, Rangers heading off to Greece to face off against AEK Athens. And Raskin settling the ball, passing it to Babooli, who finds Sterling. Ant-Man finding his main man, Babooli. And Babooli now cutting in, passing it to Ant-Man, who passes it back to Sterling. And Babooli turning, passing it to Ant-Man, continuing his run. Bayrami finding Babooli. Babooli finding Rosette. What the hell? An absolute shocker by Babooli sees us only collect 1 point. And you can see we are teetering between playoff and elimination from the Champions League. Will we qualify for the playoff in the Champions League? Only time will tell. And as we return to the Scottish Premiership, we head into match week 18 where we face off against St. Mirren. And Ayunga setting it through to Phillips, and Phillips on the ball, laying it off for Backus, who puts it into the back of the net in the 35th minute of the match. And Rangers find themselves down. And just minutes after, Ant-Man would find Babooli, and Babooli would be able to find Sterling, who passed it back to Babooli, and Babooli taking a few touches, still on the ball, muscling through the defense, making runs. Ani Babooli cutting out, getting on ball, taking off his feet, but fighting for the ball, running into the keeper, dribbling it into the nets like an absolute prick. And Ani Babooli bringing Rangers back into the match with his 26th goal of the campaign. And again, Babooli displaying defensive tenacity, passing the ball to Ant-Man, and Ant-Man finding Babooli. Babooli on his left with a weak-ass shot. And with that weak-ass shot, we see Rangers only collect 1 point as we collect another draw. Our record standing at 13 wins, 5 draws, 0 losses, and 44 points, with Celtic breathing right down our neck. But we can't focus too much on Celtic, as we have to focus on match week 19 where we host Aberdeen. And Nisbet on the ball, sending it through, and Nisbet with a wonderful pass to Palaversa, who smashes it into the bins and puts Aberdeen up 1-0 in the 18th minute. And Nisbet trying to settle it, But Kelly kicking the ball over to Ani Babooli, who settles it with his thigh, passes it to Ant-Man. Ant-Man to Bayrami. Bayrami and Ant-Man working together, and now Babooli is in the mix, and Ani Babooli getting the attack going here. Ani Babooli cutting in with a chop, smashing it with his left foot, but unable to put it in the bins. Ant-Man with a beautiful turn, passing it over to Ani Babooli. Ani Babooli on the ball. Just a few minutes left in the match. Ant-Man passing it back to Raskin. Raskin to Babooli. Babooli sending that defender for a hot dog. Once again, getting through the defense. Ani Babooli unable to score. Can you believe it? But Babooli getting an interception, but unable to convert. And the match comes to an end. A 1-0 victory for Aberdeen sees Rangers collect our first loss of the season in match week 19. And as you can see, Celtic have leveled us on points at 44. And now the title race is getting interesting. And in match week 20, we have a very tough test to turn things around in Dundee United. And Rothwell to Bayrami. And now Babooli on the ball to Bayrami. Babooli continuing his run. Babooli looking like a menace. Getting some space, having a shot and smashing it into the back of the net and putting Rangers up 1-0 in the 6th minute. And this was the match where Ani Babooli knew that things needed to be turned around. And this was the match where Ani Babooli cemented his spot as the main man at Rangers FC. And Babooli passing it to Ant-Man. Ant-Man back to Babooli. Babooli with some skills. Ani Babooli making the attack run smoothly like a German Mercedes engine. And here's Ani Babooli on the ball. Cutting back. Passing it over to Ant-Man. Bayrami. This is Joga Bonito. Ani Babooli on the ball. Smashing it into the bins. And Rangers up 2-0 with a beautiful goal by the whole team, but a beautiful finish by the man Ani Babooli. And Sapsford passing it to Muller. Muller getting stopped by Sutar. And now Ani Babooli with a beautiful turn, passing it to Barron. Ant-Man threading it through brilliantly to Babooli, and Babooli on the ball. Babooli taking a few touches. No defender dares to get in front of him. Ani Babooli gonna take it all the way and put it into the bins, completing one beautiful hat trick as he does the Ani Babooli prance. And Ani Babooli making Glasgow go insane. Rothwell to Bayrami. Ani Babooli looking for more. Sending it over to his main man, Gassama. Gassama back to Babooli. Babooli finding Bayrami, who finds Babooli. Babooli gonna make it a fourth, and Babooli hits it off the bar. But Rothwell's there to collect the clearance. And Rangers are still on the attack with Babooli passing it to Gassama, who sends it through to Bayrami, and he ain't missing from there. 4-0 for Rangers. And that is one way to turn things around when you collect your first loss of the season. Rangers FC with a 4-0 victory, which sees us remain at the top of the table, courtesy of our beautiful goal difference. And as you can see, after 20 matches played, we are level on points with Celtic, and it's going to be one hell of a title race. And as we head into match week 21, we face off against Livingston FC. And another intense match of Scottish football. Ani Babooli turning, passing it to Ant-Man. Ant-Man able to find Sterling. Sterling sending it through to Babooli. Ani Babooli on the ball. Ani Babooli crossing it brilliantly. But Bayrami is not able to convert. And a very boring match of football so far. With Martin on the ball now, trying to make something happen. But Babouli's there with a brilliant tackle, and Barron sending it back to Babooli. And Ani Babooli cutting in. Ani Babooli slipping through the defense, finding a spot, having a shot, and it's Bayrami to convert the rebound and give Rangers the 1-0 lead in the 65th minute. And he gives that corner flag one hell of a left hook. And Rangers with a 1-0 lead. And Livingston FC trying to make something happen. As you can see, Ani Babooli picked up a strain. And Ani Babooli on the ball. cutting back, passing it over to Brunel, and Brunel passing it to Babooli. Brunel in acres of space. Brunel to Bayrami. Bayrami to the back of the net. A brilliant brace for the Albanian assassin. And with that victory, Rangers collecting another 3 points, which keeps us at the top of the Scottish Premiership with 50 points. And as you can see, Celtic breathing right down our necks, and they have the same exact record as us, with just goal difference keeping us at the top. And as we head into match week 22, Hearts hosting Rangers. New Year's Day, the first day of 2028. And it's Atef on the ball. Atef getting pressured. And now Bayrami to Babooli. And Babooli to Aman. And Babooli cutting in, but losing possession of the ball. And now it's Valerie on the ball. And Babooli with defensive pressure, causing an error. And Rangers should recover, and it's Ani Babooli on the ball now. Ani Babooli with the roulette, with some skills. Bayrami making the run. Bayrami with the shot, but unable to score. And it's Davies heading the ball to Babooli. Babooli like an absolute magician, making things happen. Brunel sending it to Babooli. Babooli using his pace. Babooli with a right-footed shot into the back of the net. And Rangers with a 1-0 victory, courtesy of Ani Babooli. And as you can see, that victory creates a 3-point gap between us and Celtic FC, as they have collected yet another loss. And with that, we end today's episode at the top of the Scottish Premiership with a total of 53 points and a record of 16 wins, 5 draws, and 1 loss. And if only things would go so well in the Champions League. As you can see, we are struggling here. We remain in 23rd place after 6 matches played with a total of 6 points, and we need to get a victory to secure a spot in the playoff if we want to go to the knockouts. Otherwise, we can pack our shit and go home and stay in Scotland. And that is where we will end today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. This has been Dennis from Clowning Wall Gaming. Be sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, ring the bell so you don't miss the next one, and have yourself a great rest of your day.